Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with records or LPs that I bought extra copies of just to be on the safe side. And this is the last in this little mini series, is what this is, because you don't want to beat a dead horse too badly, right? But basically, we have talked about the dust magnet vortex problem, where you had to get extra copies because you knew that you were going to have snap, crackle, and pop every time you opened up the disc. And we talked about lousy pressings that we got from record clubs. Now we're coming to the biggest reason to duplicate of all. You just loved it so much that you had to have an extra one because you were going to play it to death and something could happen. Your dog could bite it, or, one of your younger siblings could decide they liked the cover, or they could tear it to shreds or keep it or do something with it, or you could accidentally leave it somewhere, or you carried it with you constantly in your book bag and it got crushed or ruined when you went to school. I mean, it could be a million reasons why you needed to have an extra one. And for me, and these are all Deutsche Grammophon recordings, this didn't have a dust problem for some reason. There was no dust vortex swirling around it every time I took it out of its sleeve. Who knows? Maybe it was pressed at a different factory. I don't know. Or they added some chemical to the vinyl or the sleeve, or I have no clue. But it was this. Claudio Abbado's recording of Alexander Nevsky. I got hooked on Alexander Nevsky. I can't even explain why. It's such a haunting, fabulous piece, as I'm sure some of you know, or all of you know. Alexander Nevsky is a movie, and this was originally a film score. And eventually, Yuri Tarakanov recorded the complete film score, which they could show while watching the movie, which I saw done with the Symphony Orchestra. It was lots of fun to see it that way. But, Prokofiev took the film score and turned it into a cantata, and which I played, by the way, which I played live, which is just oodles of fun if you're a percussionist. Oh, all the healthy swats on the tam-tam and crashes on the cymbals and bass drum. And you've got cymbal swooshy, and oh God, it's marvelous. Marvelous, and crazy mallet parts in the finale. It's endless fun. But beyond that, the melodic material, the atmosphere, what an incredible score. It's vastly better than the movie. The movie was important. The movie it's Eisenstein, so it's cast of thousands, and, the battle that goes on endlessly, and they're just all like swinging and schlonging at each other, and they wear funny helmets that became, the stormtroopers in Star Wars. It's a classic film, and students of film have to watch Alexander Nevsky. It only has like one line of dialogue. The very beginning, when he's like sitting around on a lake and he comes, I'm Alexander Nevsky. That's like the dialogue. Anyway, we don't need to go there. The music makes the film. As far as I'm concerned, I know that there are all kinds of, filmistic and cinematic reasons why Eisenstein was like a major film guy, and I understand that. But for me, the music makes the film. And this cantata is a brilliant refashioning of the themes and motives to make it absolutely beautifully balanced, perfectly rendered, fabulous piece of populist symphonic art. Not all populism is bad. We tend to look down on it. We poo-poo it. But, this was not a poo-poo. This was just thrilling. And when this recording came out, it just blew me away, because I'd heard all the others. I'd heard them, and I knew the piece, and it hadn't quite hit me, But the way Abbado does the battle on the ice, the vividness of the sonics. Abbado's best recordings were all made with the London Symphony during his London recordings, and they were the best engineered recordings that he ever got, aside from, until the digital era, like, ruined everything. Initially, because they didn't know how to deal with the technology and whatnot, and they sort of messed up the dynamic range and whatnot. But this recording, wow, it just knocked my socks off. And so I had to have an extra one, because I was going to play this sucker, especially the Battle on the Ice sequence, about 50 billion times. And I don't care how sensitive your stylus is, or if you're using some liquid goop to float everything, or what it did. I was going to wear it out. And so I needed an extra. And the CD version, I was so thrilled when it came out on CD, and it didn't sound any worse. They didn't wreck it with the transfer. And you also got the Chicago Scythian Suite and Lieutenant Kijé, which some of you have already talked about as a disc that you wanted to have extra copies of as well. And I understand that too, because they are brilliant, fabulous performances. Although the best Lieutenant Kijé remains Eugene Ormandy's, the one on Columbia with the Philadelphia. It's unbeatable as far as I'm concerned, but still. But the Scythian Suite, ooh, is that a smoker too? The whole thing was just fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And I had several of these because I just had to. I mean, that's it. That was the reason. It was inevitable. Did you have some recordings where you just had to have more than one just to feel good so that you could sleep at night? Were you that obsessive compulsive and neurotic? I sure as hell was and am. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.